So, Hocus 4/5 drops diss track at Troy Ave. Anybody think he's gonna respond? BBN Jack Frost. What's up, party people? Alright, so yeah. So apparently, Hocus 4/5 has dropped a diss track. It's aimed at Troy Ave, and my only question is, will there be a response? Okay. Now I want to be clear about this, right? So I am a fan of battle rap, of real battle rap, of when we're rapping and we're competing with one another and we're doing it in the studio and we're not trying to actually run up on each other in the street and have buffoonery going on. I am a fan of that. I want to be clear about this. So as far as the value or an artistic value that this can have for me, any back and forth between these two individuals, it has to be, and the only way I'm going to accept what's going on happening in the booth has to be happening over tracks. Now, with that being said, Hocus 4/5 is currently in a beef with Whack 100, which is wild because Whack 100 just recently asked another dude, yo, why are you bringing Hocus 4/5 into my business? When, if I remember correctly, the issue that Hocus 4/5 actually has is with Whack 100. So Whack, somehow you brought, at least this is the optics. I don't know how true it is, but this is the optics. Somehow you brought other individuals into this beef that you have with Hocus. But also, with that being said, put it in the chat. Has Hocus already been beefing with those other guys? Could this just be a situation where, like, a couple of his arch enemies just all got together and started plotting? I mean, I'm not even saying they're plotting. Whatever the hell is going on. In any regard, Hocus drops a diss track. He says a couple of things in the song that I think actually hit pretty hard. And this is why I don't know if Troy Ave is going to respond. I think that if it was a diss track that had very little to do with real life and some of the situations and circumstances that have happened pertaining to real activities, real actions, I think there might have been a bigger chance that Troy Ave might respond. I'm gonna explain. So basically, a long-running narrative in this particular song is that Troy Ave, rest in peace, Banger, actions is why Banger isn't here anymore. They're saying, and I'm not saying I agree, I'm not saying I disagree with this, just so we can be clear. I'm just saying what's being said in the song, that Troy Ave's behavior is what created the situation. I'm not saying it is, I'm not saying it isn't, but that's a long-running narrative. I don't know how Troy Ave is gonna address that. I don't know how he's gonna address that. I mean, I could think of a couple of ways, but I don't know how well it's gonna follow through because of the behavior that he exhibited after Taxstone was found guilty. You know, if his behavior was a little bit different after Taxstone was found guilty, and I'm not saying it had to be, by the way, he should be Troy Ave. He should be who he is. I'm not trying to govern or police his actions or his activities. I'm just explaining my perception of what he did in the circumstances and how other people might be looking at it. So just my opinion is, if he would have carried himself a little bit differently after the guilty verdict with Taxstone and after, differently after Taxstone was given the time that he was given, I think that then people wouldn't be able to say so haphazardly that he got his man killed, because his actions after that would have manifested or would have been manifesting the type of energy which would have conveyed sorrow and a sadness that he's feeling because his friend isn't here no more. So I think that narrative that Hocus took, I don't know how easy it's going to be for him to respond back to that. Hocus had a lot of jokes in there, by the way. One also about, he was like, his girl is Wolf. Everybody that don't know, that's his girl. Troy Ave, who's cool as heck. And he just happens to mention that she's also cool. Like, everybody likes her, nobody likes Troy. It's kind of crazy. Also, I just want to add this. More narrative that Troy Ave actually never sold drugs was another thing in which they were trying to say. Troy Ave is, and I'm not saying he is or he isn't. I'm just saying things that was said in the song. You got to go listen to the song. Go check it out. I'm not saying he did or he didn't. I just want to be clear about this. I don't want, because I'm having this conversation and I don't want people to be like, yo, Troy, he's talking craps about you over here. I'm talking none of the craps about you over here. Anyway, so that was another point that Hocus made. And I want to be clear about this. That's a point that a lot of people make. That's a narrative that a lot of people say. But I've also heard other people say that he might have did a little things out there, but not to the extremes that Troy Ave is saying he did. But that's just rap. You think these rappers, they actually own these G6s that they be talking about? Yo, I'm in the G5. Think they own that? No, they rented it or something. So Troy Ave's point is, I was doing things out there. Maybe it wasn't to the extremes that I rap about, but we all embellish a little in our music, you know, to make the narrative a little bit more fantastical and entertaining. So I think that that's generally what Troy Ave's position is on this. I'm not 100% sure. Go check out the Hocus song. You tell me what you think about it after you listen to it a couple of times. I want to know if Troy Ave is going to respond. I think the first thing that I just spoke on, I think that's going to be pretty difficult for him to respond to. I think the other things might be a little bit easier to respond to, just so we can be clear. But I think that that's going to be a little bit difficult to respond to. Also, for everybody that don't know, Hocus had a situation involving that he beat a case, which I believe were bodies, where he stayed solid. He didn't talk on nobody and nothing. I don't even know if there was anything to talk on. So I don't even like saying that. I don't like when people be like, yo, that guy, he's solid. He didn't snitch. You implying that there was a crime being committed. I'm saying I don't even know if there was a crime being committed. I know a thing happened. I don't know that Hocus knows anything about it in order to have not told anybody in the first place. And I don't want to imply that. So basically, he was accused of a thing. He said he didn't do it. He was found not guilty. So that happened. And I also want to add that there are a lot of people who pled not guilty and then were found guilty and actually were not guilty. So pleading not guilty to a crime doesn't necessarily indicate that the person is not guilty. Just like pleading guilty to a crime, even though we're going to say, yo, you pled guilty, fam. Sometimes, you know, there's a lot of people that pled guilty to crimes and then we find out in the future they actually didn't commit them. But with this particular thing that I'm saying, Hocus 4/5 has a career, might you add. He's very highly respected, not just in New York. I think sometimes when people aren't real street dudes, but they do all of the playing like they are, and they get to a position where they have some kind of merit and authority, and so they'll see somebody who's a real street dude and think that because they got more money than them, that they have more, you know, status in the regards of how real they are or aren't. And when I say a real street dude, I don't mean the ignorant guy. I'm not talking about that guy. I'm talking about the guy that actually was out here living the street life and happened to survive. Now he's on the other side of this. I'm talking about that guy. Just so we could be clear. I think that that's the issue with Whack 100. I think Whack 100, for whatever the reason is, he just don't like dudes that really been in the street and really have street business going on. He just don't like them. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong. Tell me where he gets along with any of these guys at. It doesn't seem like he usually gets along with people that have actually been in the street well. It seems like he gets along with people who don't necessarily have been in the street really, really well. So That's just my opinion on that. I could be wrong. I don't know whatever. Put it in the chat. I want to know what you guys think about this. And go listen to that Hocus song and come back and tell me what you think about that. Like, comment, subscribe. Join the notification gang. Hashtag Bronx Bowmans. Let's get it. I love y'all. Take care of each other. Hug the kids for me. I haven't forgotten about you. And that's all I get on this one. I'm out.